today. Share Jesus with everyone you meet.
Bye now, and God love you.
All right, we're back. All right, White Wolf says he's going to hammer Adrian for some comments I made about Fatima on Monday. All right, White Wolf, hit me. Hit me with your hammer blow. Let's see. Very annoying. I don't know why YouTube stopped working, but I don't know. It's very, very annoying. Very much despise that. I don't even know when it stopped working. Let's see. White Wolf says, I vote for the Franciscans. There you go. White Wolf is on the board for the Franciscans are right. Angels, AJS3 Angels says, it's terrible. I'm going to go to management today, but Jesus keeps saying to me, litany of humility, litany of humility. Oof. What happened, Amy? Why do you got to go to management? What happened? I'm very curious to know if everything's okay with you. There's a fine line between humility and just getting bullied at work. That's why I constantly report Rudy to management here.
What he doesn't know is that I'm upper management.
It's like, I'm getting those complaints.
We're listening, Adrian.
Reg is on hold right now.
Reg, come on, bro.
Let's see. We're having some. I don't know why we're having technical difficulties. Maybe we have to unplug and replug the phone lines or something.
Reg, you there, brother?
So, let's see. White Wolf says that the caller is smart. Yeah, he was very smart. Reg, if you can hear me, I don't know. He's still stuck on the handset right now. Reg, we'll put you back on hold because for some reason we're not able to speak to you via our phones. Obviously, I can't put you on air because then people would get your personal information on air. So we're unplugging our phones and we're restarting them.
Let me tell you, it's been a weird morning.
Yeah.
I got locked into my house this morning, and I was almost late to work. So I have two vehicles. One of them's my wife's. One of them's mine. And yesterday after work, my wife and I and our kids, we went on this boat trip. It was fantastic. It was a great time. But I left my personal keys in the glove box of my wife's car. So I'm going out the front door, and I realized, I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't have my key. It's in the garage. So I'm closing the front door, and then I'm going to the garage door, and I'm trying to open the door. I'm jiggling the knob, and the thing is stuck. I can't get out of the house. And my only way of leaving the house is in the garage. So I started thinking really quickly, and I start MacGyvering things. I'm like, okay, how am I going to fix this situation? I start scrambling. Luckily, my past self, I got to thank myself in the past because I left a screwdriver in the kitchen. And so I grab the screwdriver, I take the knob off the door. I still can't get the door to open. I jiggle it. And it finally opens, but man. And then we come here, and we have phone problems. Ugh.
Yeah, it's been a rough morning. It's been a rough morning. Let's see here. There you go. He's able to talk to him. I don't know what happened. I mean, it literally was working earlier, so I don't know why it would be the case that it's not working anymore. Okay, White Wolf says, on Monday you said Our Lady of Fatima said that fire would rain down from heaven. That's not true. Okay, you are correct. My apologies. My apologies, White Wolf. It was Our Lady of Akita who said fire would rain down from heaven, right? I think that's right. I'm going to try to see if I can find this source. Let's see here. Okay. The Virgin Mary said to Sister Agnes Sasawaga in an apparition, as I told you, if men do not repent and better themselves, the Father will inflict a terrible punishment on all humanity. It will be a punishment greater than the deluge, such as one will never have seen before. Fire will fall from the sky and will wipe out a great part of humanity, and the good as well as the bad, sparing neither priest nor faithful. The survivors will find themselves so desolate they will envy the dead. Okay, so that's the story. It goes on from there. They said the only arms which will remain for you will be the rosary and the sign left by my son. So a story that goes on from there. But yes, my apologies. My apologies. Let's see. You also said Our Lady Fatima said penance, penance, penance. Those words were allegedly spoken by St. Michael within the alleged secret released by the Vatican in 2001. Well, whenever I say Our Lady of Fatima, I'm talking about the Fatima message, not specifically that Our Lady of Fatima. So that's different because when I say that, because I'll reference the Angel of Fatima and talk about the Our Lady of Fatima, and then from there I'll say, okay, Our Lady of Fatima said, because it's still the message of Our Lady of Fatima. So all the apparitions that happened at Fatima, I just kind of lump in, unless I'm being very specific about it. I lump in as just the message of Fatima, as Our Lady of Fatima. Now, Whitewell says Our Lady of Akita is bogus. That's the first I've ever heard of that. Why do you think it's bogus? I'm curious to know why you think that. It's a church-approved apparition, but I guess you are. What is your position, White Wolf? Are you a sedevacantist in the traditional sense, like you don't think there's been a pope since Pius XII, or do you think it's just Francis? Because if it's just Francis, then I would assume you mean that. Then you would accept that this is a approved apparition, no? Because it begins in 1973, and it was approved by the church. But I guess if you don't recognize any popes since Pius XII, then I guess it would make sense that you don't necessarily accept it. Interesting. I don't know. What are your thoughts on why it would not be approved or why it would not be accurate? Because it seems to me, from my reading of the story, that it just basically confirms the situation at Fatima. Let's see. Akita is from the post-Vatican Church, therefore CVs do not accept it. What are CVs? Maybe you meant SVs, sedevacantist? Whitewell says Akita is bogus, and the statue of Akita is a copy of Our Lady of All Nations, a bogus apparition in the Netherlands to Ida Peterman in 1945. I don't know anything about Our Lady of All Nations. At this point, what does it matter if Francis is Pope or not? Oh, there you go. There you go. Oh, Sede is with an S, Lost Creole. Sede, like seat. Yeah, I don't know. I personally believe Akita is true. I don't know anything about the particular statue, but I don't see why a statue would be bad.
Also, Akita dogs are pretty dope. I like Akita dogs.
Is that a type of dog?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They're like the big version of the Shiba Inu.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh. Primitive
type of dog, though.
Interesting.
I have kind of like a problem with some. It's not specifically White Wolf. Like, 'cause I have friends like this, but I have some friends that will not ever, like, if you mention anything after a certain date, they will automatically dismiss it. And I just think that's too broad, you know?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
I was trying to get him a kid's book for his family. And he was like, no, because that has this saint that was canonized after this time. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, that's your choice. If that's how you're going to do with your kid, that's fine. That's, it's not for me to say or criticize, but I just feel like that's too broad of a stroke to paint and say, like, anybody after this age, therefore, no, I'm not going to ever read or take anything what they say. It's bad, outright, just on the premise that they're born after this age. I don't know. I just think that's kind of annoying.
No, so it's interesting, okay, because I'm kind of in the middle there. I have what I have termed, and this is a real term, but it's not applied in this way, and I kind of just applied it in this situation. I have a hermeneutic of suspicion of anything that's basically 1960s and later.
Sure.
But I don't dismiss everything after the 1960s or later. because it would require that I not accept Padre Pio as a saint. It would accept like many saints that I think are real saints. I'd have to dismiss that. The seers of Fatima would have to be dismissed as not saints. But someone might say, well, they're an exception. It wouldn't exactly. That's my point. They're exceptions. And so, yeah, I'm suspect of it. Like, for instance, the Vatican came out saying that they're going to canonize Sister Lucia. Well, now I'm suspect about that. It's like, why?
Yeah, like which one?
It's like, oh, why are you going to do that?
The real one or the fake one?
Well, see, that's the other thing, right? So you're saying everything's suspect after the council, right? And so everything that Sister Lucia says after the council is now suspect, right?
Right.
And so it's like, okay, well, it's interesting. I don't think we could apply it universally, but I do think it's healthy due to the confusion to have a hermeneutical suspicion when things pop up. So there you go. White Wolf says, I am skeptical of everything post-Fatima. So there you go. He said Fatima was the last apparition, period. Why would you think that? What would make you think that Our Lady said, I'm not going to appear to people anymore? Now, it may be the last apparition you believe in, which is fine. You don't have to believe in any other apparitions or any apparitions technically.
Right.
But I'm just curious to know why you would assume that Our Lady would not appear after Fatima. It seems like Our Lady would like to appear again to try to tell us, hey, you messed up there. Go fix that. Now, White said, Our Lady Fatima said that God would punish the world through war, famine, and persecution of the Holy Father. Yeah, well, I think those are not mutually exclusive. I mean, if you have war, there could be fire from heaven, especially if you think of heaven in the biblical sense, meaning the sky. There doesn't have to be literal fire coming down, like mystical fire. It could be a missile or something like that, because fire from heaven can refer to just explosion from the heavens, which is the sky. So, or imagine if it's like, oh, did you hear the Epic Times was reporting on the use of lasers in warfare is going to be starting. That will be fire from heaven. Oh my goodness.
That's already been done.
Well, allegedly. Yeah.
Directed energy weapons.
Yeah, that's true. People have been saying that for a while. But now they're saying that they were using lasers and they're just saying it publicly now. So, I mean, if it was a conspiracy before, now we know lasers being used as weaponry is now a thing. And it was used before as like tracking for missiles, but now it's going to be used like directly as a weapon. So that's interesting to me. So, I mean, maybe that's the fire from heaven. I don't know. It could be. There's nothing in Akita that makes me think it's probably not true. For instance, Akita says there will be bishop against bishop, cardinal against cardinal. Like, what about that says? I don't know what would be objectionable. Let me read the whole thing from Our Lady of Akita. Let's see. They said the survivors will find themselves so desolate they'll envy the dead. The only arms which will remain for you will be the rosary and the sign left by my son. Each day, recite the prayers of the rosary. With the rosary, pray for the pope, the bishops, and priest. The work of the devil will infiltrate even into the church in such a way that one will see cardinals opposing cardinals, bishops against bishops. The priests who venerate me will be scorned and opposed by their confreres. Churches and altars will be sacked. The church will be full of those who accept compromises, and the demons will press many priests and consecrated souls to leave the service of the Lord. I mean, that's literally what we're living through. So I wonder what about that is like, man, that is suspect. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Akita was only repeating what Cardinal Ratzinger said in 1984. Yeah. I mean, what's wrong with that?
This conversation bores Adrian.
Sorry. Sleepy. Let's see. Amy says it's okay. I can take it if it makes Jesus feel any slight comfort. Basically how I feel about it at this point. Okay. So they're abusive. It's constant, really bad. They pick on me, humiliate, embarrass me because I don't give any back talk and do all that it's asked of me. I'm sorry, Amy. I'm sorry that you're enduring that.
That's what Adrian does to me.
That's true. That's true. I try to cane him if I can, but I realize that might be a legal issue, so I avoid it.
But he knows that I don't like Raising Cane's chicken strips.
And so I'll buy it for him. I'm like, here, I'm caning you today.
Caning you, dude. Like, but dude, I don't like the sauce that they make. They only give you 2 choices of sauces, and I want barbecue. He knows I don't like it.
Well, I'm sorry that's something you have to endure, Amy. I was listening to Father Ripperger's talk today, actually. He gave a conference on suffering. And maybe I'll include it in our Telegram chat. Because I was listening to that this morning, and it was really interesting. He was talking about the horror of suffering, meaning there's many souls who are, they horror at the fact that there is suffering in the world. And instead, we should embrace our suffering and learn to love our suffering. So it is something that's difficult. And I'm going to try to be better at suffering. I'm really bad at it. I'm really, really bad at suffering. Complain too much, groan and moan. Like, I should just endure the suffering. And like we talked about in the past with my teeth, I was like, easier said than done, right? So I'm going to try. We're going to try to do this. Let's see. Good morning, says Lori. Seeing Cane's chicken, either good to know I'm in good company. Oh, same. Cane's chicken, either. Yeah. I like Cane's. Actually, you know what's funny, Rudy? I had Cane's yesterday.
No way.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I had the best barbecue I've ever had yesterday.
Oh, yeah? Where?
Pinkerton's.
Pinkerton's.
You ever been there?
I've not. I've heard about it, though.
Okay, so it was completely by chance, right? Because yesterday, our preschool group took a field trip, and I thought, oh, I'd love to join that field trip just to help out with the kids, right? And so we went on this boat ride, and the boat ride was like kind of lame, to be honest. It was free. We went on this little tugboat, and we just went up and down the, like the port of Houston or something. So I thought they were going to take us out to the ocean or something, but it's just like you were just going through this strait. And
Who was it with?
I can't remember.
With the port office?
I think it was the port office, yeah.
Okay.
And so you're seeing all these
yeah, because the reason why they give it to you for free is because they're giving you a tour of. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was expecting a great trip into the ocean
or like
for free.
A couple of whales, dolphins, I don't know, flying fish, something.
Oh man, it's so
We're
funny.
seeing these dilapidated buildings and refineries and stuff.
It's so funny.
So afterwards, we all decided to go to this barbecue place called Pinkerton's. And I got to tell you, it was legit. It was literally the best barbecue I've ever had in my entire life. I'm fantasizing about it, going home and having my leftovers. But yeah, I mean, those occasions come few and far in between.
Yeah. Lori said it's a ship canal. Yeah. I know. That's what it is. That's what it is. Know exactly what you're talking about.
Trash everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Not great. Let's see. Whitewell says, I don't like suffering either, but I feel guilty. I don't pray more. I really need to pray more. Yeah, same. I've been trying to do the little office of Our Lady, and I'm really bad at it. I usually, like for instance, yesterday, I have my bookmarked right here. I got to Sext, and then I didn't finish the rest of the hours. And so I did Matins, Louds, and Prime, but then and Terce, and then I stopped, and then I got busy, and I just didn't do it. And so I'm like, I need to pray, like doing the divine office. Divine office would be ideal. Obviously, little office of the Lady is much easier to do, much shorter to do, but it still takes you about 5 to 10 minutes to get through. The shorter hour is about 5 minutes. The longer hour is about 10, 15 minutes. And then I just forget. And then, or I won't. Here's worse. This is acedia. This is the classic case of acedia.
The noonday devil.
The noonday devil. I will think about it. I'll remember it. And I'm not doing anything either. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I need to do my prayers. And then I won't do it because I'm just like, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I feel that, man. I fell into that pretty hardcore. And it's worse. I was listening to this talk on Sensus Fidelium yesterday. and it was talking about how fathers are going to be way more responsible for their discipline of the children before God. And I was just thinking, I was like, man, there's a lot of opportunities at home that I need to seize as the bishop of the home to direct our children to a deeper knowledge and love and service of the Lord. And still there's days, like having known this great charge that I have before me, this great responsibility, there are days where I'm like, man, I'm too tired to pray the rosary. It's so absurd to say it out loud, you know, but in the moment you're like, I don't know. It's acedia, just like you said, the noonday devil. It's so easy to just kind of put it off. Mm-hmm. And I think I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people have the same problem, and you know, they'll skip a day or two. I think the best advice I ever heard was don't let yourself skip 2 days in a row. Otherwise, it's just going to go.
Yeah, you know, I committed years ago when I was in college, and this was kind of a very bold thing to do. Probably not very smart, but I committed to it. I promised to Our Lady that I would pray 4 rosaries every single day. Mm-hmm. And that was, I think that was my junior year in college. And so now I pray 4 rosaries every single day. And it's been helpful because I'm like, no, I made a promise to Our Lady. I didn't make a vow, but I did make a promise, and it's still binding to make promises to Our Lady, to our Lord. And so I prayed 4 rosaries a day since junior year of college. And there's some days that I mess up and I forget, or I only pray 2, or I'll pray 3, and I won't get the 4th one in. And I will go and confess that to my priest. I'll say, bless you, Father, for I've sinned, yada, yada, yada. I failed in my daily devotions X amount of times. And I could always ask the priest to release me from my promise that I made. But it's actually been very helpful, because then many times where I'm feeling really, really lazy, like when I try to do the little office of Our Lady, I'm not bound by anything. I'm just doing it because I'm trying to pray more frequently throughout the day. And so I'm like, I don't have to do it. And I just don't do it. Whereas with the rosary, I've made a promise with Our Lady. And so now I feel intensely guilty. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I have to do this. And if it's like late in the evening, or
for
it's
love
like,
of Our Lady,
for love of Our Lady. And so I'm like, okay, I got to stop what I'm doing. I got to do the rosary real quick. And many times I'll do a really, really crummy rosary. It'll be quick, not really well focused, not really well meditated. But I did it. I accomplished the task. And it's also good for me too, because I also have a situation. I don't know if anyone else suffers from this. I like to know more about God than I like to pray to God. And so I like to read, listen to podcasts, listen to lectures, read pious books, read biographies of saints, read books on theology. And I have all this information, and I could tell you about prayer and all these things. But then it's like, hey, Adrian, want to go sit in the Adoration Chapel for 3 hours and just meditate? No, not really.
I'm kind of busy.
I gotta go read. So it's like it's a struggle, and so I have to. So the keeping the rosary every single day is something that has kept me stable, especially during times where I'm like, I don't have any desire to pray. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Los Crios says, confession, I use the rosary nightly to put me to sleep at night. I rarely get through the entire rosary. So I would say, if you do, at the very least, you should be praying 5 decades a day. 5 decades a day. Everybody should be praying 5 decades a day. At the very least. If you have not done your 5 decades already, do not pray it before bed. Or you can pray it before bed, but don't do it in bed before going to sleep. Once you've done your bare minimum requirement, yeah, there's no problem. Pray. I do that all the time. Pray the rosary trying to fall asleep. You're falling asleep praying. Our Lord asked us to pray always. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if it's the only rosary you're doing that day, I would say that's not good, because then you didn't even accomplish it because you fell asleep halfway through. Yeah.
Then you hear people say things like, oh, well, my guardian angel finished it for me. Dude, that's a cop-out.
Yeah. Yep. So there you go. Let's see. Yeah, White Wolf said the same thing I did. He said, Lost Creole, you have a good habit. I have fallen asleep saying the rosary too. Of course, if that's the only time you say the rosary. Yeah, there you go. I agree with White Wolf. Mary says, Adrian Rudy, did you see my comments on Catholic mental health? No, I did not.
Yeah, Mary, just reposted.
Those comments
instead of
disappeared.
writing it out.
Yeah. Tammy says, Adrian, you can read during adoration. Yeah, you can. It's a less perfect way of praying, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Teresa of Avila has said, you should check out my podcast I did with my friend Colton, who joined the Hermits. He's a hermit now, which is pretty awesome. A really spiritual guy. We were talking about about reading adoration. He said that Teresa of Avila, for 25 years, she said she could not go to adoration without having a book in her hand. And Colton also told me, he said that many people misinterpret this, though, that she didn't always read in adoration, but she had the book there because it was a physical reminder of like something that she wanted to meditate on. And so something that she wouldn't necessarily pick up the book and start reading. Sometimes she would, but it would be, it'd be good. It'd be good to do. Whitewell says, even Taylor Marshall says 5 decades a day, one of the few things where we are in agreement. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not more things that y'all agree with White Wolf. But okay. Let's see. But yeah, 5 decades a day, bare minimum. If you read Secret of the Rosary, St. Louis de Montfort says that's a children's rosary, and you should really pray 3 rosaries a day, 15 decades. Now, I committed to doing 4 rosaries a day back whenever I didn't know much about the luminous mysteries. And so now I don't believe the luminous mysteries are part of the rosary. What did I just say? Yeah, I don't believe luminous mysteries are part of the rosary, but I still pray them every day. I kind of just treat them as its own little chaplet. And so I still say them every day because I committed to doing so. And I could, like I said, I could always ask my priest to rid me of it, but I'm like, there's nothing wrong. I don't see anything wrong with the luminous mysteries. I don't think they're bad. So typically I'll pray the 15 decades of the rosary, and then I'll pray the luminous mysteries. Sometimes I'll pray them joyful, luminous, sorrowful, glorious. It just depends on the day. But yeah. And I usually allow pray during drives. I'll spend the first 15 minutes of my drive in silence praying the rosary, and then I'll put something on.
Yeah, if you're a commuter, that's the best. That's probably the best time to pray a rosary.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, especially, I mean, what else?
Because there's no way for you to escape it.
And it's 2 hours a day.
I'm just sitting here. Why not use this time instead of listening to music or whatever, a podcast? You can easily put on a rosary meditation, and that would infinitely benefit your life more than whatever you're doing in traffic.
Lori said, I never heard the GA excuse. What's the GA excuse? I can't remember the context. I'm sure there was context to that question. She said, why? It is scriptural. If you're talking about the luminous mysteries, I don't think it's bad, because I think you're just meditating on scripture, which is can't be bad. And praying Hail Marys.
He's just saying it's not part of the actual rosary.
Yeah, what Our Lady gave us. Like John Paul II he didn't just invent. I did a whole podcast explaining my position on luminous mysteries, but the short of it is he presented it as a devotional. He didn't invent them. They actually existed before him. Someone else made them up. But it's not what Our Lady gave us. And when Our Lady appears everywhere in all times, whenever she tells us to pray the rosary, it's always the Dominican rosary, the 15 decades. So that's why.
That actually ties back to the 150 Psalms.
Yeah.
So that's why most people, including myself, do not consider the luminous mysteries part of the rosary, because that came afterwards. The actual Psalter is the 150 that are referenced in the 3 mysteries that we're more accustomed to, or that actually most people take as a rosary.
Right. Lost Creole and Amy said that they can't bring themselves to pray the luminous. That's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with not praying the luminous mysteries. In fact, if I hadn't bound myself to this promise, I probably wouldn't pray them myself, to be honest. But I've bound myself to this and I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So it's something I do, and it's also helpful whenever I have conversations with people and they're like, we talk about the luminous mysteries, and I'm like, oh yeah, I really don't think it's part of the rosary. And like, you don't believe it's the luminous mysteries are part of the rosary? And I'm like, well, I pray them every day. And they're like, do you pray them every day? And he's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, stop calling me a heretic for crying out loud. Just because I don't pray, just because I don't think they're the part of the rosary. So it's helpful for that reason. And but no, I don't think anybody is obligated to pray the luminous mysteries. If you don't want to pray them, no big deal. But you should definitely pray the 15 decades every day, or at least 5 of those 15. All right, God bless you. God love you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us on Your Catholic Drive Time, where it is our pleasure to keep you informed and inspired.
Join us Monday through Friday at the same time, right here on your favorite Catholic radio station.
Don't forget to connect with us. Just go to facebook.com/Catholic Drive Time.
Again, that's facebook.com/Catholic Drive Time.
Be sure to share more than just us today. Share Jesus with everyone you meet.
Bye now, and God love you.